Good evening, and thank you for joining Griot from the comfort of your home for our 24th anniversary celebration and benefit, brought to you virtually this year. See, 2020 has been an arduous year for our democracy. COVID-19, while it doesn't have eyes, knows exactly who to infect and often kill. Black, brown, poor people, and older adults. Its maneuverings are tied to the systemic and orchestrated racist and xenophobic edicts foundational to the U.S. Even as the uprisings around the country persist, African American men in particular, and those of the African diaspora, continue to be assassinated by police and white supremacists, including the despicable so-called leader of this country. This pandemic and ongoing deep-seated racism has presented Griot Circle with unimaginable challenges. The current pulse of our nation demands that we reimagine how we do our work and how we serve, anchor, transform, and extend the lives of our precious members. This year hasn't been easy. Thankfully, through the loyal support of many of you joining us tonight, our donors and a few foundations, we have been able to sustain our work. And for that, on behalf of Griot, I humbly offer you our deepest appreciation. Griot Circle was created to serve LGBTQ older adults of color, to help combat the systemic ways in which they have and continue to be marginalized. Deaths, either from COVID or at the hands of the police, are traumatizing our elders. They're traumatizing all of us. It is because of this that we are unwavering, now more than ever, on doing our work with our members through a lens of resilience and affirmation. Our elders guide us in this journey as much as we assist them. Tonight is a celebration of survival and more. And while our offices remain closed, let me tell you how we're lifting up our members during this unprecedented time. We call our members on a weekly basis to assess for any supportive needs and link them to the services and benefits that they may need. We provide over 15 opportunities per week via Zoom and phone that includes support groups, socials, and classes such as Tai Chi, ESL, meditation, among others, so they can remain connected and engaged. With the city, we coordinate food delivery so they remain nourished. We provide assistance for them to buy toiletries. We promote our mental health services as well as our friendly visiting program that is now virtual. Interestingly, this sheltering in place mandate has allowed LGBTQ older adults from across the country to join us for our programs and services. Know that even as our membership increases, our members are being taken care of. Big congratulations to the honorees for your life's work, collectively spanning decades. Thank you for being warriors in the fight for economic equality, racial, social, and gender justice. Thank you to Griot's Board of Directors for their leadership, our member volunteers, and especially the staff. As a people of color-led organization that reflects the members we serve, I acknowledge that for us too, this work is challenging, triggering, and fatiguing. Thank you for showing up with dignity and compassion as we maneuver our way through this health and political crisis that impacts us daily. Our vision is for all LGBTQ elders of color to experience a just and abundant quality of life, and we will continue to fight for that, but we need your help. Nonprofits like ours have uncertainty in how we're going to do our work in the future. Please consider making a gift tonight in any amount so that we can continue serving our very vulnerable but spirited and irrepressible community. Please enjoy the evening and don't forget to vote, because our livelihood and the lives of many others literally depend on it. Thank you. Good night.
Good evening. I'm Andreen Johnson, and with Amanda Lugg, we are the very proud co-chairs of the Griot Circle Board of Directors. We deeply appreciate you joining us tonight during this unprecedented time in our country, and dare we say, the world. Tonight, we come together in gratitude for our communities that refuse to give up in the name of all that is just and good. We give thanks for our elders, for their sacrifice, their wisdom, and for creating a path of inclusion and fairness. We give thanks to those younger among us for teaching us new ways of doing and being. Events across the country over the last several months have only served to amplify Griot's mission over the last 24 years. This is not new to our members, and it is not new to us. This is what we were built for. Tonight, I implore you to take stock of all that has already been accomplished, but all that still remains to be done. We know we cannot sit on the sidelines. There's still fight left in all of us, and much to be done to create the reality we so desire. I encourage you all to take one step towards this by voting in next week's election. And now, Amanda, please take it away.
Thank you, Adrienne. Welcome, welcome, good people. I want to give much appreciation to our sponsors, our host committee members and its co-chairs, Ann Cammett and Terry Bogus, the staff and volunteers of Griot Circle, and our virtual event producer, NFP Productions, for assisting us tonight. It is truly, truly a team effort that makes tonight possible. Griot is a West African term for storyteller, one who perpetuates the oral tradition of a village or of a family. Tonight, we celebrate the resilience and the resolve of all the griots, of all the elders who created the path that we walk on today and that we continue to build upon at Griot Circle. Tonight, we celebrate our honorees who are among our most beloved storytellers. Collectively, they represent decades of commitment to dismantling racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ageism, and more. Each of them, sometimes quietly and sometimes not so quietly, lift up our communities in a fight for justice and equity. They do it with art, music, organizing, truth-telling, and more. They are true leaders in word and deed. Please, tonight, consider making a special gift in honor of an elder who has made a difference in your life. I'd like to thank you again for being with us. Our wish is that you leave here tonight with your hearts full and your fists held high. Enjoy the evening.
Good evening once again. It is an absolute pleasure for me to introduce our honoree, Rosa Clemente. Rosa and I met over 27 years ago when we were undergraduates at the University of Albany. We've worked together in many different capacities. Rosa is the Director of Multicultural Affairs for the Student Association, and I as the Affirmative Action Director. She became the president of ASUBA, the organization that represented Black students and those from the diaspora. I was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. We spent a pivotal summer working together on onboarding, coaching, and mentoring incoming low-income freshmen and women of color via the Educational Opportunity Program. Albany was our battlefield. We organized, advocated, fought, and marched for the student body of color. During long-spirited conversations, we designed initiatives on campus and fought for our rights, for representation, for equity, and for fairness. Rosa has always inspired. She inspired me to speak up, to take action, to be unapologetic about speaking truth to power, to get, as the late, great Representative John Lewis once said, in good trouble and necessary trouble. I know many who do this work, but Rosa, she is the real deal. Whether she is organizing and flying off to Puerto Rico to fight for the rights of its people, or mobilizing and being in the crossfires at Ferguson. Most notably for making history by accepting the 2008 vice presidential nomination for the Green Party. She's an outspoken journalist, political commentator, and scholar, activist. This is truly a full circle moment. Tonight, I proudly present you, Rosa Clemente, with the Griot Circle Changemaker Award for your trailblazing and inspiring leadership efforts around advocacy and organizing social, economic, and racial justice. Congratulations.
I wanted to thank the Griot Circle community for this award. To receive an award from elders of the LGBTQ community is very humbling. I have been blessed to sit at the feet of so many elders in my years of organizing, scholar activism, and independent journalism. I come from a very big family and always have called upon my titis for advice to keep me grounded. When I received this award, I immediately thought of all the people in my life who were never able to live in their truth. I had to do a lot of internal reflecting and ask myself, when did you marginalize or ignore people in your life who were lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer? When and why? These questions led me to take a class on LGBTQ literature, and in this class, I was exposed to so many stories, narratives, and plays of LGBTQ brothers, sisters, and non-gender conforming people. But it was not until 6 years ago when I went to Ferguson to cover the uprising and subsequently met Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opal Tometi, the founders of Black Lives Matter, that I had to check in my own privilege as a heteronormative woman and examine my politics to recognize that I was participating in the erasure of LGBTQ folks. That same year, I met Elle Hearns, founder and executive director of the Marsha P. Johnson Institute, and Nisa Noyola, a Latina transgender activist and national leader in the LGBTQ rights movements and deputy director of the Transgender Law Center. These two sisters schooled me for hours, and ever since then, I always go to them when I have a question. I truly believe that as an organizer, one must continue to evolve and to ask questions, as well as listen. And I have listened and continue to make sure that I never again participate in the erasure of my people. Lastly, I want to thank my friend, comrade, and your executive director, Jose Albino. As he said, our battlefield was SUNY Albany. Jose and I shared so many conversations. Our goal as undergraduates was to fight back, to stand our ground, and to ensure that those coming after us would be treated better than we were as students of color with all our intersectionalities. So I want to again thank the Griot Circle for this beautiful award. Thank you, Jose, for always believing me. And lastly, in the honor and in the words of Sylvia Rivera, we don't take no shit from nobody. We had nothing to lose. You all had rights. We had nothing to lose. I'll be the first one to step on any organization, any politician's toe if I have to get the rights for my community. So again, thank you to the Griot Circle and to all the honorees. I am so proud and just again humbled, and sometimes don't have the right words. To get an award, especially from my elders, is a blessing. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andre Guest, Deputy Director at Griot Circle. It is my utmost privilege to introduce our next honoree, Andrea Jenkins. I met Andrea in Minneapolis when I ran a theater company for LGBT people of color called Flavor Cabaret. It was one of the first times she read her poetry to a public audience. And years later, she shared with me how that platform helped her with her creative voice. That voice has now developed into a lion's roar, as she has proceeded to create a remarkable body of work and has championed so many causes. Andrea has always been involved in her local community. She has been a leader in Minnesota, fighting for the rights of trans women of color and speaking out on the many inequalities in the Black community. Andrea is a nationally and internationally recognized writer and artist, a 2001 Bush Fellow to advance the work of transgender inclusion, and the recipient of numerous awards and fellowships. In 2019, she co-edited and released the book Queer Voices, Poetry, Prose, and Pride. She was also an award-winning poet and curator for the University of Minnesota Transgender Oral History Project. As a public official, Andrea was hired by the Hennepin County government, where she worked for a decade. Andrea worked as a staff member on the Minneapolis City Council for 12 years, a leader who was used to doing her work without the lens of the camera on her. She never dreamed of national notoriety and could not imagine she would be making history. But exactly what she did, as in 2018, Andrea Jenkins became the first openly transgender Black woman to hold public office. As a vice president of Minneapolis City Council, she has continued her advocacy work and a call for justice for George Floyd, who was murdered in her neighborhood just a few blocks from where she lives. In June 2020, in honor of the 50th anniversary of the first LGBTQ Pride Parade, QWERTY named her among the 50 sheroes leading the nation toward equality, acceptance, and dignity for all people. Andrea, she deserves all this recognition because she's not just my friend, but a friend and advocate for all that is just. I'm so very pleased to present you, Andrea, Griot Circle's Changemaker Award for exemplary and transformative work as an elected leader, transgender activist, and multifaceted artist.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Andrea Jenkins, and I am the Vice President of the Minneapolis City Council. I am so grateful for this recognition today from the Griot Circle. What an honor it is to be recognized for my lifelong commitment to fairness and justice and equality for all people, but primarily in service to trans and gender nonconforming people of color. On the screen, you will see the names of the trans and gender nonconforming people who have been murdered this year. Before I go any further, I just want to acknowledge that wherever you are on your video screen, we are all on stolen native land in a country built on stolen labor. As Andre mentioned in his wonderful introduction, I am the Vice President of the Minneapolis City Council, and I represent the area where George Floyd was murdered. That has led us, our community, to begin the process of reimagining public safety in our communities. And we know that this is possible. If you are a transgender person, a gender nonconforming person, a L, G, or B identified person, you know that change is possible. A new world is possible. I want to leave you all with a quote by Octavia E. Butler from Parable of the Sower. Consider whether you are a human being, an insect, a microbe, or a stone. This verse is true. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. Keep changing the world. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lisa Eddy, and I'm the Director of Programs for Griot Circle. I'm here to talk to you about Makia Denby. Makia is our meditative art facilitator. She's been with us for the last 8 months, and she brings with us so many different creative skills and ways of drawing. She is a painter, an illustrator, a sculpture, music composer. She also is a sound engineer. She brings wonderful collective works to our members that create personal visual drawings on a weekly basis. Her live music can be shown and seen on Instagram and YouTube at Makia Machine. Along with this, she has established the first music and art center for South Harlem and served over 5,000 children and families. I would proudly like to introduce to you the multidisciplinary visual and sound artist, Makia Machine Denby.
ain't never breaking us. We're too strong. Built America. All you.
It won't always be easy to find yourself and stand strong. So life is gonna break you down, spit you out on the floor. But when you can't walk away, backs up against the ropes, they'll say we can't stay down, we don't stay down, ain't no man down, man down, man down, no. I'll keep standing up, I'll keep standing up. You don't know my fight, no. Don't know where I've come from. 'Cause I've already won, like a swan. I've made up my mind, I'm gonna keep on steady. Oh yeah, I've made up my mind. I'll keep standing up. I'll keep standing up. I'll keep standing up. Standing up. Standing up. Standing up. Oh, you don't know what happened. You don't know where I'm going. You don't know my fight. You don't know my fight. You don't know, no, 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 no. I keep standing up. I keep standing up. I'm gonna keep standing up. I keep standing up. Standing I'll keep standing up. Keep standing up. Standing up. Standing up. Standing up.
All right, good. Go, we got it.
Good job, guys. Good job. We done.
We got it. That's see the lights.
Break down?
Yeah, we gotta get out of here.
I am so honored to be invited to introduce my great friend and colleague, Kendall Thomas, as one of the change makers being honored here tonight. Kendall joined the Columbia Law faculty in 1986 and has been an intellectual guiding light in the legal academy since then. He's one of the founders of the critical race theory movement, making the case for how we should center the lives of people of color and the role of white supremacy in the study and practice of law. But founding one legal movement wasn't enough for him. His intellectual gifts have been critical to the creation of the fields of queer theory, sexuality and law, and the cultural study of human rights. He and I co-founded the Center for the Study of Law and Culture over 20 years ago, and he continues to be an ardent student of the ways in which law reflects, builds, and can even extinguish the cultures in which we live. Being an intellectual giant in the academy is only part of who the real Kendall is. He's also an activist at heart. He was a founding member of the Majority Action Caucus of ACT UP and was centrally involved in Sex Panic in the AIDS Prevention Action League. He also served on the board of the Gay Men's Health Crisis. But perhaps closest to Kendall's heart, for real, is music. Kendall is an incredibly gifted jazz vocalist. When he wasn't teaching our students at Columbia, or pushing all of us to hire more people of color on the faculty, or writing brilliant essays, he served as a choir director at a church and appears regularly to sold-out audiences at Joe's Pub. Kendall is my closest friend and colleague at Columbia, and I am so delighted that Griot is recognizing his many years of brilliant political and cultural activism. Please welcome the incomparable Kendall Thomas.
Well, the one thing we did right was the day we started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. I raise that song to remember the ancestors who brought us all here and whose spirits are with us today. Thank you to my friend and colleague, Catherine Franke, for those moving words of introduction. And thank you to Griot Circle for honoring me with this Change Maker Award. Griot Circle's work among Black, African American, and African diasporic LGBTQ folks is legendary, and I'm moved that they would think of me as someone on whom to bestow such a signal honor. I'd like to dedicate this award to the memory of the late, great Ortez Alderson, whom I met in 1988 on a Monday night on the third floor of the Gay Lesbian Community Services Center here in Manhattan at an ACT UP meeting. Ortez and a group of other fierce comrades founded the Majority Action Caucus, which squarely placed the question of racism and racial justice on the agenda of the AIDS movement. In my mind's eye, I can see Ortez, the griot, sitting in a circle with young activists, schooling them on the challenges and opportunities that face us all today at another moment of crisis. I lift up this award and I say Ortez's name in the conviction that we will rise to the work that we have to do today, tomorrow, and in years to come, to name and claim social justice and racial justice here and everywhere. Thank you so much for this honor.
I don't have a lot of friends. I never did. But now I feel like I have sisters
and brothers.
Keep on giving for your kind, for every
Bam bam, PP long.
I'm bound to thank you for it. La, 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 la.
Well, I'm very, very thankful for the idea of someone calling me and asking me how I feel and if I need anything.
Thank you for Griot, period. And definitely these virtual classes are fantastic, each and every one of them. I've been to a whole lot of them.
When we have something as horrible as this, something magnificent has to come out of it.
When I retired, I didn't have anything to do. Most people that I know were still working, and I was like really wondering, what can I do now? I didn't think I was going to retire so soon, but I got injured and I had to leave the job. My mom was sick at the time, and I was able to take care of her until she passed on. And what's Griot done for me is gave me the opportunity to help people. I facilitated Medicare minutes, which was very important to me, and also their programs were excellent. We came into people that we became family, you know, it was just like family. Everybody was so warm and accepting. So the facilities that they had at Griot was a lot of programs for art, Tai Chi, cooking, wellness, you know, so many programs that helped us all. And I do want to thank the staff of Griot for being so warm and welcoming. And this is a place that we really need as seniors. And Griot has done so much, especially during the pandemic.
Hi, my name is Veronica Kavnik, and I'm a former board member and current host committee member for Griot Circle. The thing I love most about Griot is that it brings people together. We hear time and again from our members that Griot is like a second home, a place where folks can make friends, build trusting relationships, take on some self-care, learn new hobbies, and even just cut loose. And that's something I think we all need in our lives, especially as we get older. For me, Griot exists to provide a safe place for our elders to relax, get support, and be themselves. And that's why I give, because I want Griot to be around for a long time so that we can keep giving back to our members and the many more to come.
I am so delighted to be here with you to present the Griot Circle Regina Shaver's Legacy Award to the effervescent Jewel Gomez. Compassionate and passionate changemakers, Regina and Jewel have both made indelible marks on thousands of lives in our communities and beyond. Regina was a core founder and the first executive director who saw the need to support our elders of color and rally the community to create Griot Circle. She left us way too soon, but 24 years later, we are still here building on her legacy, helping each other to not only survive, but thrive as we age with pride. I am one of the many in the Jewel Gomez fan club, proud to be her friend and feminist gal traveler for nearly 4 decades. We first met when she interviewed me for the board of the Australia Lesbian Foundation for Justice. The rest is history. Imaginative, visionary, and authentic, Jewel thinks, writes, and talks in a way that resonates so deeply with those whose lives she reflects. Despite her vast achievements, and I don't have enough time here to tell you them all, Jewel remains humble, accessible, and as charming as ever. Who can resist that beautiful gap-toothed girlfriend smile and contagious laugh? Jewel was on the original staff of one of the first weekly Black television shows, Say Brother. She's taught creative writing, lesbian literature, playwriting, Black popular culture, and poetry. Throughout her life, Jewel has served on the staff and boards of multiple organizations promoting social justice and human rights for women, LGBTQI folks, and people of color. Jewel was on the editorial collective of Conditions magazine, a lesbian literary journal, and she is the author of 8 books, including the first Black lesbian vampire novel, The Gilda Stories. Urban Bushwomen commissioned her to adapt the novel for a dance piece that toured the U.S. I had the extraordinary privilege of seeing that inspiring piece, as well as Jewel's brilliant 2 sold-out plays on both coasts, Waiting for Giovanni, about a moment in the life of James Baldwin, and Leaving the Blues, about the incomparable singer Alberta Hunter. Jewel lives in Oakland with her beloved partner, Diane Sabin, and their cats. What can I say? They're lesbians, Jewel and Diane, not the cats. Jewel is busy writing commentary on this political moment and writing her 3rd play, We Can't Wait. Jewel, you are our griot, our storyteller. We are so grateful for all of who you are and for all that you continue to accomplish. Please accept the Regina Shavers Legacy Award for literary and cultural excellence and an unwavering commitment to racial and feminist social justice. Jewel, we love you. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I want to first thank Catherine Acey and the Griot Circle for giving me this honor tonight. It really is amazing that we're all here together, even virtually. When I first moved from Boston to New York in the 70s, I was all alone. I felt so isolated. I was looking for community everywhere. I finally found South to Soul Sisters, and I found the women who published Azalea magazine and the Jemima Collective, and I really understood how important it is for us all to have community in order to thrive. I am totally thrilled that 40 years later, we're still here, we're still trying to make the world a better place, we're still looking for each other and looking out for each other. So I want to offer this also as a thank you to our dear friend, Donna Allegra, who left us last winter, and to say thank you, thank you, thank you for this award in honor of Regina Shavers, who of course I knew when we were kittens. Thank you all so much for continuing to do this work, and don't forget to vote.
Cheryl Boyce Taylor is a poet and workshop facilitator. She is the founder and curator of Calypso Muse and the Glitter Pomegranate Performance Series. Cheryl is the author of 4 collections of poetry, Raw Air, Night When Moon Follows, Convincing the Body, and Arrival. Cheryl has facilitated poetry workshops for Cave Canem, Poets and Writers, and the Caribbean Literary and Cultural Center. A Vona Fellow, her work has been published in Poetry, Prairie Schooner, Aloud, Voices from the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, Pluck, Killings Journal of Arts and Letters, and Adrian. I am happy and proud to introduce you to my friend and your next performer, Cheryl Boyce Taylor.
Here in our time, these are rough times, to dance close, to whisper in your lover's ear who you are, what you bring, what you give. A throat undamaged with hope, to know each other's swell intimately. I saw life up ahead, and I ran to grab its dust. Sweet William braided in my hair. The last time I wore my baby on my hips, I threw him there like a sack of grits. He held on to the sweet body, held on. These are times to share. Here are my fingers. Use them as fire starters. Here are my hands. Use them to write this world into peace. Here are my shoulder blades. Use them as drum to summon ancestors. Here are my words. Use them as provocation, as resistance. Here are my eyes, tears on the window lip, trying to wipe it quick so no one sees how much I miss my child, how much I miss him. Here are my words. Use them. Use them to share, to open doors. These are the times to share our words, to share our world. Here are my eyes. Use them. Here's my proctor part. Use it as a sweet spot for nesting. Here are my poems. Use them as dirge for dancing, as collateral for taking back our planet. Here is my arthritic spine. Use it, recycle it to plant trees. These are rough times to dance close, to hold each other, to share, to love. And when Aretha Franklin says sisters, sisters and brothers are doing it for themselves, we'll enter doing it for ourselves, sharing. Right now, only love can save us. Only love can save us, only love.
Hello, everyone. My name is Doretha, and I'm a proud member of Griot. And I've been a study member for more than 5 years. And I really love it. It's like my family, which I said before, my sisters, my brothers, my family, my friends. And it just opened up a new world for me as a senior. Because a lot of times you go to senior places and you can't talk about your life, or you can't express who you are. But there, I can express who I am in a lovely, lovely environment. I know I wouldn't have made it this far without Griot. I was in a 30-year relationship, almost 30 years. And when it was over, I had nothing to do. I didn't have any friends, lonely, or just don't know what to do. If you just want to enjoy your life, become a member of Griot. I can't say enough about the staff in Griot, how they make you feel so warm and welcome. And it's like a family. It's like a family that you know is real.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Mark Fowler and a member of Griot Circle's Board of Directors. When COVID-19 forced all of us in our homes to protect ourselves and our loved ones, Griot kept their physical doors open as long as they could. They continued to provide vital services like grab-and-go meals, groceries, case management, and most importantly, community. The staff were committed and remain so, that no Griot Circle member would feel alone. Griot Circle's members build community. Even in the face of a global pandemic, a reckoning of systems of inequity and racism, and what seems like the unraveling of our democracy. Griot Circle stands in the gap with actions that let our members know that their lives matter to all of us. I joined Griot's board of directors because when I look into the future, I want the services, a committed staff, and a community of peers to be available when I reach that time when my community may look very different than it does today. I give to Griot because I know that every dollar I donate is used for our members to the greatest extent possible. What I did not say is that I'm also the CEO of a nonprofit, the Tannenbaum Center for Interreligious Understanding. And I know all too well that every dollar makes a difference. With city, state, and federal budgets uncertain, we have to make sure that our elders are taken care of. And it's our responsibility. I'm asking you to join me, dig deep, and make sure that Griot Circle is here for years to come. Please consider making a gift in honor of an elder or any of tonight's honorees. Thank you for your gift tonight.
Over 8 years ago, Griot Circle was at a crossroads. The organization was going to fold. Funding was skeletal, a new vibrant board was needed, and a visionary interim leader needed to helm the organization if it was to survive. Enter Catherine Acey. Catherine, a respected leader in philanthropy, intersectional justice, and aging, among others, came out of retirement and literally gave Griot its pulse back. She passed the baton to me when I took the helm as the ED over 5 years ago. Catherine, who continues to work for the organization on a part-time basis as a director of strategic collaborations, will be retiring in the coming weeks. Tonight has been a remarkable evening, but we will be negligent if we didn't take a moment and say to you, Catherine Acey, thank you. On behalf of the board, members, staff, and many of our supporters who are your dear friends, thank you for anchoring us, bleeding life into us, and giving us our wings back during a very tough time in the organization's history. We will miss your wit, your passion, and your respected experience. While there were challenging times working together, it was all love and respect, because, as small as you are, we always knew that there was a giant in the room. You will be missed, but we know where you will be in just a phone call away. Thank you, and good night.
Whether you are a new Griot friend or a longtime one, we are so happy you chose to be with us tonight. Your support fuels the programs that means so much to our elders.
Thank you to our amazing performers, and congratulations again to the honorees who individually and collectively make such a difference in so many lives. You make us proud and truly give us something to celebrate.
As many have said during this unprecedented time in our shared history, hope is a discipline. We must put that hope into action in all the ways that we can. We lift our glasses in celebration of collective resilience and with the hope and determination that we can and will transform our world. Thank you. Have a good night.
It won't always be easy to find yourself and stand strong. So life is gonna break you down, spit you out on the floor.